Are you currently using webinars to grow your online business, or are you thinking about using webinars sometime in the future? If so, stick around, because in this video, we're going to walk through and show you a case study of how one company managed to generate $72,000 in profit in just 30 days. Funnel hacking has become wildly popular over the past few years, and it has a lot of value in the world of digital marketing. You need to understand the process and the flow of how somebody enters your funnel, moves through a certain process, and eventually becomes a subscriber, a member, or a customer. The problem? There's really two parts of the funnel hacking equation, and most digital marketers, probably including you too, ignore the second part, and that's a big mistake. Why? Because part one is defining the flow or the map itself, the pieces of the puzzle, but step two is even more important. Step two of the funnel hacking process is the numbers, is the math that drives the entire profitability of the funnel itself. So in today's video, we're going to reverse engineer and really take this funnel inside out and show you all the inner workings of the math and the numbers to make it work, so you can duplicate this webinar funnel for your online business as well. So let's get started. The inspiration for this video I'm creating today came from an article published not too long ago by Lead Pages. And the article is a case study talking about how this one company generated $72,000 in profit in less than 30 days utilizing webinars. Now, the great thing about the case study is that they give us a lot of the metrics and the math and the numbers behind this wildly successful funnel. You can see here they tell you how many leads they generated. They tell you the cost per lead. They also tell you metrics like the conversion rate. Now, when you're doing funnel hacking, looking at a competitor or an other business in a niche, you have to make some assumptions based upon the math involved to reverse engineer the funnel. The good thing is, with this example, all those numbers are laid out. So what I'm going to do in the next segment is actually map out the funnel itself and show you how we start attaching these conversion numbers and metrics to the funnel to understand the big picture. And we're going to use some cool software to do that, to really make our job a lot easier. So as you can see, I've actually gone through and created the funnel map for this case study. Now I'm using an amazing piece of software here called GERU. And GERU, in addition to being a funnel mapper, really makes things come alive, which I'll show you here over the next few minutes as we walk through this funnel, okay? So very typical, right? What I've done, I've screenshotted some of these actual pages. So we have the webinar registration page here, thank you page. And you wait 10 minutes, like typically happens with an evergreen webinar. It sends a webinar link via email, a countdown timer, and then the webinar starts automatically, right? So they have two options now. They can go and watch the webinar, and then they go down the path of seeing the sales page and then going to the order form. Or if they don't watch the webinar, we send them a series of automated follow-up emails, right? And then we keep sending them back to, and hopefully getting them to consume the content or order the actual product that's sold during the webinar, okay? So this is pretty typical. Of course, we have some yes-no paths here, which is important. We have some conversion numbers here, but let me show you how we go to the next level with what GERU can do in this particular example. So check this out. Now you can see we're going to the next level, right? Now we're really diving into the math behind this funnel. We can see exactly how many opt-ins we're getting, how many are being passed along. We can see again here how many people hit the actual page, how many are moving forward. And then as we get more into the actual sales element, we can see here the actual sales total of 76,000 plus generated as a result of this whole funnel process, right? So again, it's the numbers that really drive this whole funnel. Now, I've already added in the actual numbers that were provided in the actual previous case study in terms of the cost per lead. Let me just minimize this here so we can see the bottom here. So you can see the earnings per click, $5.45. The cost per lead is 81 cents, which was mentioned in the previous article. The cost per action, so to make a sale, we're paying $93 and profit of $71,000, which is roughly what they made, 72,000 or 71.5. We're pretty close in the ballpark, right? You can see here that equals a nice, healthy $858,000 business. That's profit, right? That's money in the bank. When we go through the process, we can see that 42% of people actually registered for the webinar. So out of 14,000 clicks we generated from Facebook, and we know that based upon the numbers that they gave us in the article, that we are paying 34 cents per click. That means we need 14,015 monthly visitors to make this math work, right? To make the math work to get ourselves 5,886 leads. They go through the process. They get the 10-minute warning. The email goes out. assuming 30% of people actually go and attend the webinar replay, which is, maybe on the high side, it might be as low as 20%, depending. They go through an email sequence, and then I'm assuming that 3% of people will take the offer. Now that may be wishful thinking. We don't know. It depends. I mean, it could be 1%. $1,497 is definitely not a low ticket item. As you probably know, the higher the price, the lower the conversion. We're not going to get 5% conversion on cold traffic from somebody, looking at photos of their neighbor's dogs and all of a sudden being hit with a webinar ad, signing up for a webinar, and then out of the blue, as they're drinking their afternoon tea, signing up for a product for $1,500. You know what I mean? So we got to be aware of that. So this, in my eyes, is a best case scenario. Now, these numbers here really are a best case scenario on what we could achieve. Now, what I want to do in the next segment is really look at the worst case scenario. I mean, if we go into Facebook advertising with this as our game plan, we may be sadly awakened by the fact that we can't get traffic for 34 cents a click, or we can't convert 3% of people who watch the webinar replay into sales, or maybe we can't get 42% of people to sign up for the webinar itself. So let me flip the page here and show exactly how we can use something called scenarios. All right, by clicking on this little button here, we can click on a second scenario. So click on that now. So what it has done, it has duplicated the funnel, created a second scenario, and we can really do some creative things here to, again, create that worst case scenario. What if we don't get 42% conversion? What if we get 20% conversion? Okay, chop it in half. How is that going to affect the bottom line? Profit is still pretty solid, $31,000 in profit. All right, let's say that, what if on Facebook, we're not paying 34 cents a click? What if we're paying $1.34 a click? Can the numbers still work? All right. You can see here, yes, they are still working. We're getting $17,000 in profit, which is great. Well, what if we can't get 14,000 people off Facebook? What if, all we can get is 7,000 people? Is that going to be enough to keep the lights on and to make us a decent income? You know what I mean? As you can see here, instantly, GERU is showing us $8,584 in profit. So we're still in really good shape here. Let's kind of move on here. Let's assume that rather than 30%, we're getting 15%. We're just chopping the numbers in half for folks to see what's going to take here, okay? So now you see this is where things become negative, right? Now we're actually losing money because we're getting a lower percent of people to attend the webinar replay. Well, let's maybe go up a little bit here to 20% and see if we can salvage this campaign as best we can here. All right, so now, again, we're in the profit zone. Looking at some of the numbers here, what if we're getting a 2% conversion? I put 3.97. What if we're getting 2%? Or 2.5%, is that going to be enough to make the magic happen here? Okay, once again, you can see we're going into the negative. So what you want to do is tweak these numbers to see what's the absolute bare minimum, the worst case scenario that we can actually roll out a funnel and make money with some of the bare bones low end metrics here, okay? So as you can see here, we need probably at least a 3.5% sales conversion just to make a decent profit. So you see now, we're $1,099 a month, which isn't great, but the fact is we're getting customers without losing money. So are you starting to kind of see how this all comes together now? So really, anytime you run Facebook ads, anytime you run paid traffic, anytime you're looking at doing something and sending visitors through your funnel, you must go through the process of understanding two things. What are those two things? One is creating the funnel map, like you see here, creating the flow of traffic from a person hitting the webinar registration page and moving through the sequence. And then the second part, which is the most critical part, is the numbers and the math and the metrics and the conversion rates to really understand, what numbers must I hit to make sure this funnel is profitable. And if you don't go through the process of understanding the math, well, guess what happens? You're basically guaranteed to lose money the minute you turn on your Google ads or your Facebook ads or your Instagram ads, right? Does that make sense? You're literally losing money and using your credit card to scramble and reverse engineer and test and try to figure out what the heck is happening with the funnel versus you going in saying, well, I know that if I'm not hitting 3% sales conversion on that webinar sales page, I'm in big trouble. If I'm not getting a minimum of 20% of people registering for my webinar, I'm going to be in trouble. If I am actually paying more than $1.34 before per click on Facebook, I am in trouble. And you can use these as checkpoints to make sure that before you get too far along with your advertising, you can really drill down and understand exactly, are you hitting these key performance indicators? And does it look like this funnel is going to rock versus flop? So hey, I hope you found this useful. If you want to use a tool like this and dive in and analyze your funnels and simulate your funnels, create scenarios, really get a clear understanding of the profit projection and the potential profitability of your funnels before you even run $1 of paid traffic, you definitely want to go ahead and grab your seat inside GERU. This exact funnel I'm showing you here is going to be added into GERU as a blueprint. And guess what? If you're wondering how to start your own funnels, we've got dozens of pre-done funnel blueprints for you, waiting for you inside GERU, including sample conversion metrics and numbers to make it easy. You plug in some simple numbers and away you go. So I hope you found this useful. And once again, 2 parts of the funnel hacking process is planning your funnel, mapping it out, and then running the numbers. So make sure moving forward, you do those 2 pieces of the puzzle and you'll be more successful with your webinar funnels and any funnels you create and run advertising campaigns for. Did you enjoy this video? Did you find it valuable? Well, if you want to see more videos like this as we dive into more funnel metrics, more strategies and tactics to help you do better and grow more with your online business, then you'll definitely want to keep tabs on what's happening here at GERU. I encourage you to like our Facebook page, add a comment below, hit the like button. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure as well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And the minute we have another funnel breakdown or any other type of video to help you grow your business, you'll be notified right away. Until next time, this is Jason signing off, and we'll talk to you again real soon.